We have something called the Integrated Greenhouse Gas Information System, which is a observing system that parties can use to track what the emissions are that are coming from different sources back to the sources. And this will allow them to target effectively with policies and measures the actual places that the emissions are coming from. So that's on the mitigation side. Now on the adaptation side, we support climate services for all of the climate-sensitive sectors: agriculture, health, water resource management, energy, and disaster risk reduction. And these can take the form of early warnings or tailored products that help make decisions to better manage climate effects on those sectors. Highlight is that 2 weeks ago, the 18th session of the World Meteorological Congress met, and they took a decision that all high-impact events that occur will be cataloged and assigned a unique identifying number. And that number, over time, will allow the authorities in a country who collect information about loss and damage associated with those events to link it to the event itself with this unique identifying number. And this will provide a way of unambiguously attributing the loss and damage to the hydrometeorological phenomena in a much more precise way than currently. Over time, we will actually be able to start quantifying loss and damage and the effectiveness of the measures that are being taken to avert it. Over few decades now, probably since the 1980s even, the disaster risk management community has been tracking loss and damage associated with droughts, floods, cyclones, all of the major hazards, geophysical ones too, earthquakes. And so they've amassed a considerable amount of data. But the way that data is associated with the phenomena, the hazards, is very ad hoc. So you could have a hurricane like Hurricane Mitch that hit Nicaragua and Honduras, and you'll see that show up as a landslide, as heavy rains, as a storm surge, as flooding, but the overall losses associated with a hurricane will be disaggregated into all of these different pieces. So it was very challenging technically to come up with a solution to that problem. And the way it is going to be done is to have the overall mesoscale event have a unique identifying number, but also all of the subsidiary events as well, and to have cross-linkages between the identifiers at both of those scales, the lower level ones and the higher level ones. So if I'm a disaster manager and I'm looking at loss and damage associated to the landslide, I can take the identifier for that landslide and say, this is loss and damage associated with the landslide. But if I'm interested in all the losses associated with hurricanes, I can aggregate up and get the flood-related, the wind-related, the storm surge-related, and the landslide-related, and put it all together and do a complete summary of the loss and damage for tropical cyclones. So there was a difficult technical problem, but I think we've solved it. It will take some time before this is fully implemented and we have a complete catalog of these events. So we'll need another 20 years, honestly, till it really starts to have its full effect. But because this is a Congress decision, it means that all the national meteorological services in the world eventually will start to do this, and that will give the national authorities a solid evidence base for these kinds of policy decisions as well as for practice.